Yeah, I remember my pops used to tell me stuff like, yeah, that lamp costs more than your life and all this other stuff, right? But now that I know the cost of health care, I'm the most expensive thing that my family has ever had. I'm Trevor Turner. Once lost, now living on purpose. I know what it's like to feel locked out of your own potential. This show is for the ones who are ready to take their power back and write a new story, 1 hour at a time. You can do it. You can do anything, and you don't need permission. That's why I started the free hour, to give people the space to change their story, to remind them you are not your past, you are not your mistakes, you are not done, you are powerful. You can find freedom, you can find yourself, and you decide what happens next. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the free hour. It's your boy Tree Trevor Turner, and we're back with another video. We're back with actually another really special episode of the Parolee Paradise. This is where we talk to people who have been through some things. We talk to people who have been in and out, or just in. We talk to people who've come up in some of the similar circumstances that I came up, but we don't glorify the past here. We glorify the future. We talk to people who've changed their life, who've made decisions to change their mindset, to change their actions, to change their behaviors. And we got a really special guest with us today. If you could go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
How you guys doing today? My name is Joey. Yeah, so I am.
So today what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk to Joey a little bit. One of the reasons that I wanted to bring Joey in is because Joey's somebody who has actually opened my eyes to a lot of different things. Especially when it comes to people who have made decisions to break cycles for their families. So, let's get into it. Why don't you tell them a little bit about you, where you're from, how old you are, kind of a little bit about what you've gone through in the past.
So, my name is Joey. I'm 35 years old. A little bit about my past. I was first incarcerated when I was 9. Ever since then, I've been in and out the system. Yeah, I came from that life. I came from that upbringing. Dad was a lifer, mom on drugs. I actually got a brother doing life right now. But yeah, I've been in and out the system since I was 9 years old. Made a lot of mistakes in my life. Went to prison 2 terms. The first one I did 5. This last time I did 6. Gave me 18 years, got out, Prop 57, Pelican Bay, everything, all that, Growing up, for me, in Oxnard, it was rough. Single parent home, 6 kids. Like I said, I've been in and out of the system. And gangs, drugs, been shot, been stabbed. You name it, I've been through it. And yeah, I just here now choosing to change because of my family, not mainly my family, my kids, but it's something I really wanted to do. Sitting in Pelican Bay this last time, it's not sale. I just picked up the books and started educating myself. Started reading, just working on myself, working on my mind, working on my mentality, and it gave me the opportunity to actually, follow up on programs in there and do some classes and study in college, and it gave me the opportunity to come home early, 6 years for an 18-year sentence. I'll be sitting in prison if I wanted to continue that cycle.
Yeah, definitely. So let me ask you this. So I know that it was, you're sitting in that cell, and I know for me, my turning point was sitting in the cell. It was a conversation I had with my cellie. And it was just something so simple as a question he asked me, like, man, why are you so comfortable in here, right? And we was on 23-hour-a-day lockdown. It was COVID. We in the county. I hadn't made it to the prison yet. I just got rearrested. What was it for you? Was it a conversation? Was it a book? Was it a moment? Was it a phone call? Was it a letter? What was it for you that was like, okay, I'm done. I need different outcomes. I need to do better. I just need something different.
Honestly, for me, It was more personal because my father was a lifer, you know what I mean? And, you know, when you're in that cell, you sit there, you think, you replay everything, you go back in your head. And, like, I got kids, I got boys that I just, like, realized one day that I just put them in the same situation I'm in. I'm about to be gone for 18 years. By the time I get out, they're gonna be like 14, 15. And it just replayed the similarities of how I was feeling, what I went through, and thinking that like these same emotions and feelings that I was going through, they were gonna be feeling the same way. And it killed me, and then going back in my head when I was leaving, when I was in my dysfunction, and I was like, you know, getting into it with my wife and going, and the kids are crying, running to the door, trying to run up to the car, and I just leave, and I'm like, and then playing those parts back in my head, like, man, what was I doing? Like, why was I doing that? It's like, and then my mom passed away, you know what I mean? And like, that was my rock. That was like the only thing we had. Like, we're the black sheep of the family. We really don't know both sides of our family. My dad's side and my mom's side, like, we're not connected with them like that. So when she passed away, when I was in Wasco, it killed me, bro. It killed me. It broke me down. Yeah. And then at that moment, you know what I mean? I'm like, you know what? I know who I am. And then, like, being older, like, my first term I was younger, but being older, and like, you see the respect level, and you see the movements, and you see people, you know, approaching you a little different, giving you a little more respect, and you know, like, you start having a little say so, and I'm like, I did all this work, all this drama, all this gang activity to be at the top of the food chain. You know what I mean? To be respected, to be somewhat feared and understood. And I'm sitting there like, you know, back in the day it was like, you were young, there was a bunch of OGs everywhere. Now that I'm older, it's like, we're the voice of reasoning. You know what I mean? We're the older ones that they come to understand or get it, you know what I mean? They gravitate towards you, and you're like, and then I go to Pelican Bay and I see it as well, and I'm like, we're the voice of reasoning, so if I had some say so now, like, why am I, now I have to say so. So I can choose my destiny. I choose what I want to do. You know what I mean? I don't get questioned. I don't get the mandatories and stuff like that. If I'm the mandatory saying mandatory, if I'm the dude saying, hey, this is wrong, this ain't right, this is it, what am I doing sitting here? Why would I allow somebody to put me in a box and continue going down that path and listening to another man when I'm dangerous?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, where I'm from, like, even though I don't glorify, it's like, so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna get into these programs. I'm gonna work on myself, and I'm gonna prepare myself for when I come home this time. I'll be 10 times better, 10 times greater, and I worked hard on that. And my kids were the motivation, my mom, and it just clicked. Like, you know what? This is wood in here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm cool. This is not what I want. Like, I'm done. Like, what do I look like? Listening to these ignorant and staying. Like, if I wanted, like I said, if I wanted to be active, if I would allow myself to be in that box and let people manipulate me into negativity, I'd have still been sitting in prison.
Yeah, definitely. When you give other people the power to kind of tell you which way to drive the car, then it's like they'll get you in a wreck so quick.
Fast.
They don't care if you crash and burn. They don't care because they're not the ones who have to do the time, right? And I think that's one of the things that I found out, like, it's so many people around you. It's so many people with you. But at the end of the day, they're not the ones who got to live your life.
Yeah.
They're not the ones who got to stay in this cell. They're not the ones who got to deal with, you know, not having contact with your children, not having, being able to see your wife, not being able to see family members, right? They're not the ones who have to deal with that. It's us.
Right.
And one of the things I really liked that you said was, you know, like, I got to say so. It's my decision.
Mm-hmm.
I think that for me, you know, I really relate to that because I realized that it was my decisions that got me to where I was. Like, I took myself out of that victim mentality and I said, no, I got myself where I was. I'm the power in my life. I just used it in the wrong way.
Yes.
That gave me back so much power and agency to do all of these new things that I'm trying to do. And that really resonated with me. So real quick before we move on to, you know, what you got going on now, if you can just give a couple of the books that you was reading in there that kind of helped change your life. So, you know, because I'm big on seeking knowledge because like knowledge is when you bump your head, right? It's like learning from your own mistakes and your own experiences, but wisdom is learning from the mistakes and experiences of others. So you don't actually have to do it yourself, right? So that's why I think books and seeking knowledge is so important. What are a couple of the books that you would recommend to people who might be like, man, I'm stuck in a rut. I feel like I'm locked into something I don't want to be in. And, you know, where should I go from here?
I mean, yeah, this last time was my biggest moment reading. And I read a lot. I couldn't really, I got a little bit of everything off of the books. A lot of people might not like the books, but like I can name them. I did the George Jackson, Soledad Brothers, Blood in My Eye, the Huey P. Newton, Revolutionary Suicide. I wrote Soul on Ice. I even did a little religious Rastafarian reading, the Keeper Nagas by one of the Marleys. Of course, the Bible, you know, just dipping into a lot of different things. And those books put a lot of similarities into my understanding of why I go or why I'm going through what I'm going through as a man, as a black man, as a mixed man, as a man in America. But the Ways of Superior Man, I believe, Superior Man.
Okay, yeah,
I read some of that. You know, the inner energy. I read the Hermetic teachings. You know, Hermes Hermetic teachings. I read some of that, and I just pieced it all together and just, you know, it just helped me understand a lot more about the reality of life. I stayed away from books like the 48 Laws. I read the 33 Laws of War, but I stayed away from those books because those books to me were like more, how would you call it? They were like manipulative.
Right, yeah.
They show you how to manipulate.
Art of Seduction.
Art of Seduction. Like I read all those, but those I kind of stayed away because then as I was reading them, I'm like, wait, what a minute, this is like me, like you was manipulating, like how to manipulate the next person, how to slaughter. So I stayed away from those, you know, I read them, but yeah, I read a lot. I read a lot of those type of books, and it gave me some energy, you know what I mean?
One of the things I noticed about the books that worked the best for me, right, were the ones that were about character, about what you got going inside, right? And I think those books that you're talking about, they talk a lot about outcomes.
Yeah.
You don't got to change really nothing about yourself.
Right.
You just got to do, you know, you can have your manipulative ways and thoughts. You can have your selfish ways and thoughts. You can be greedy. You can want to get over on people. You just got to do things in a certain way to get all of those things, right? So, you know, because I read those when I was younger, obviously, trying to be somebody.
Right,
you know. So that's what they give you. That's what the homies give you. Art of War, 33, you know, it's like.
I learned that, like, you know, I'm cool, I'm gonna stay away from that, because that just shows you how to get deeper into some bullshit, you know what I mean?
That equips you for a different type of struggle. But the ones with character are different. The ones that teach you how to be better, how to be bigger, how to be stronger, how to be the way that you're supposed to be. And you know, I dove into a lot of religious texts when I was down too, especially with the tablets. When we finally got the tablets, and you were able to go to that library and it had all sorts of different religious stuff. I dove into you know, the Torah, you know, Zohar, all that stuff, Buddhist teachings, you know. So yeah, I definitely relate to that. So you made your decision, right? A second term. You were in the cell, you made that decision, and it carried you through to now you're home. You know, so What do you got going on now? You said you married right now?
Married. I'm married, happily married. Got 4 kids. 9, 8, and 6, and then my oldest is 14. Yeah, came home. Like I said, I told myself, you know, I came home, I got to do something different. I got to do something better. I got to be better. I got to give my kids and family, my wife, you know, she held me down the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, really respect for what she's done for me. Like, didn't leave me high and dry, stayed with me, brought my kids. You know what I mean? My respect level, my understanding, and I just care about her so much and respect her for that. And I know that how I did it the last time I was out, I was in my, like I said, my dysfunction. So I knew that I needed to be the husband that she deserves, and I need to give my kids the father, the man that they need and they deserve. So I came home, hit the ground running, got into these couple programs and classes, got a couple certifications, started working as a cashier. Like my first month out, I was working as a cashier. After that, like I said, I got a grant through DOR for truck driving school. Did that 4 to 5 weeks. And I was doing that, 5:30, waking up 5:30 till 5 in the afternoon. And then I had to go to work at 6 to 10. So I did that for like a whole month, like a whole 4 or 5 weeks. I accomplished my Class A driver's license, continued with my cashier, and then now I'm official truck driver, driving trucks.
I remember I'd seen you. I was walking down the street before I got my car. I was walking up to the bus to go to work, and I'd seen you driving by. I'm like, oh, you driving the truck? I was like, yeah, you got it.
Yeah, hit that honk on you.
Yeah, so let me ask you this, right? How have goals shaped how you like view things, how you carry out where it is that you're trying to go? Because from what I've seen, you hit the ground, like you said, you hit the ground running. There was no rest. There was no, there was like safety in your home, but there was no like time to like just waste.
Not at all.
How have like what you're chasing after kind of really helped keep things, just keep it to where you can keep going? Like, what motivates you? What keeps you going with the goals to chase after what you're trying to chase after?
What motivates me for that is how I was treated, how I was done in my family. Both sides of my family were well off. Like I said, my mom she was a little dysfunctional. When my grandma passed away, they kind of, I felt like they manipulated the situation. And then my dad's side of the family my dad was doing life at the time. His father passed away. And by seeing that, and then knowing as a man, all we want to do is secure our future, our family, and I want to, I want to know that I actually did something with myself, that I left my family secured, my kids. I don't want them, like I say, what I've been through, I don't want for them. So I'm doing everything in my power to set them goals and be productive in society. You know what I mean? Be a positive influence, a positive force for not only my family, but those around me. Like, working on my credit, working on some life insurance, 401k, trying to build this, take these steps so I get this home loan, I can buy off this home, I can put it in a trust, leave it to my kids, and just being that positive influence. Like, I said this in class, like, I was with a younger gentleman of mine that I was associated with a while ago, and he just told me how he's glad to see me doing good. And I told him, like, I did apologize, the things that we were going through, things that I was showing you guys wasn't something to be shown, but I was just trying to navigate life the best as possible. But I'm glad that you can see me now and look up to something now and see what I'm doing now. as far as looking up to me and my dysfunction and idolizing me then, and just knowing that, you know, you don't pay attention, you don't really notice, like, people watch you from a distance and see you, and you don't see them. It's like children, people don't see that or understand. A lot of people don't understand that children watch everything. We were once children. And to see them come now, it's like, you know, I just want to be a great man. I just want, like I say, I don't want to leave this earth and then be like, oh yeah, he used to do this, he used to do that. I want to, like, yeah, he did that for his family, he secured it. And, you know, that to me, that's what it's about, is being a man, providing for my family, and getting that understanding now that that's what it's about. And, you know, I put them goals. You know, I did a class where they had you make a board, and they have a 6 month, I think 9 month, 1 year, 5 years, so like that. And I put them goals when I first got out. You know, I want to secure a job and do this, do that. In my 5 years, I want to be in a home. And I actually put that up at my door. So every time I leave and get ready, them goals were set right there. And I set all them goals. Got a job, went to school, got a career. I actually, the year of being home on my birthday, I moved my family from an apartment to a three bedroom home.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Did that, and then, you know, I just got a car. Was able to pick up the slack because my wife was carrying everything, and now I'm able to participate and make her financial situation better, and so she was able to do everything she wanted to do for the kids. You know what I mean? And it's been a great life. It's been a great run. It's been, you know what I mean? I want to keep it going, and that's what I've been doing since I've been home. And I feel great. I feel blessed. Yes, sir.
Definitely. So, boom. You know, we've gotten to now, right? We've gotten to, you know, you were going to hit the ground running. You had all these things you wanted to get. You know, you needed to get your security. You wanted to be the provider that you can be. But one of the things that I think is huge, right, is not only what you bring to the table financially and materially with your wife and with your children, right? There is so much other things that I've heard you talk about, and, you know, we're gonna that's what I want to get into now, about how you have broken cycles. Yeah. With how your pops was, with your mom's was, how your family was. So let's talk about some of the other things that you think are important.
Yes.
In your relationship and as a father. So, like, if you could sum it up into what you think is the main thing that is important in your relationship as a man, beyond just providing, right? Because you, like you said earlier, you're happily married. Mm-hmm. So that means that everything that you do in your relationship, you do it happily. Mm-hmm. It's cheerful. It's like, this is what I want to do. I have a heart for doing this. Yeah. How'd you get there?
It took some time. It took work. Like I said, we got to educate ourselves. We go through life knowing what's put in front of us, and the examples that were set in front of us, and we don't. A lot of us in that type of community don't get positive examples, so we only go through life of what we think, what we see, what we know, what we feel. While I was incarcerated, I took a bunch of classes. I took anger management. I took domestic violence. I took a class called CGA, Criminal and Gangs Anonymous, AA. I took a class called Gogi. I took a class called Defy Adventure in Pelican Bay, which is now Hustle 2.0. And just to learn, educate, and then solidify what they teach is like what we already know is wrong. You know what I mean? And what we know we can do and be better. And we got to be secure as men to be able to be timid, to be understanding, to basically have feelings. You know what I mean? It's okay to have feelings. A lot of men go through life not like in what they call the man box, where we're not supposed to show emotions and feelings. But I come to understand is that with my wife, it works. You know, we communicate, we talk. You know, we tell each other how we feel, and the trust of being able to do that, because I feel I got my feelings hurt. You know what I mean? I have emotions, I have feelings, and I act like I don't sometimes, but it makes me feel good when I get solidified on what I'm doing. And yeah, I educated myself. I started putting those in practice. I came home, communications, everything, you know, tell her how I feel. She tells me how she feels. Just lay it out on the table. Like, as a man, you know, our finances, or if I go somewhere, I let her know what I'm doing, tell her where I'm going, call her while I'm at work. It's just, I think communication for me, it makes the situation better.
Because we know how important communication is, right? But like you said, it took getting there. And I think one of the things that I found out is, I did a lot of classes when I was down too. You know, I did like Phoenix Project, anger management. I did CGA also, AA, NA. I did some cognitive behavioral therapy. I did, you know, the SAP class and everything, right? And it's like all of that work on yourself comes up against a whole other person, right?
Yeah.
When feelings were involved, like were not involved, I was able to, you know, like get my mind wrapped around this communication thing. But now the feelings are involved, and I might get my feelings hurt and stuff. How do I put that into practice? You know, let's end off with this. What are some of the goals that you carry for, you know, your children? Because we know some of the things that you do. You create positive memories. You create traditions, make family a thing of value, right? Yeah. You make it to where it's like, it's safe for them to be in the home. Yeah. To where when they get older, right, they don't want to be outside of the home. Because I know that I didn't feel safe when I was a teenager, so I didn't want to be in the house.
Right.
I wanted to be where I felt safe at, and I was, you know, it's with the homies or whatever.
Yeah.
What are some of your goals and your end goals for your kids, for the family, that cause you to do, you know, some of these things?
There's a situation that happened about like some finances and like credit and stuff like that. And me and my wife looked at each other like, why ain't nobody tell us this when we was growing up? Like, we're learning now as we grow, you know what I mean? And we're like, that's one thing we're gonna make sure our kids understand this process of what it takes to actually live. You know, finances, credit, just everything, 401k, just to be a business, professional savvy, and know what it takes to actually live in this society, how we're living grown, you know? And that's like a big goal, is to help them be and do the best that they can in life, and be greater than what I am and greater what they think they can be. You know what I mean? And I want them to be successful. I want them to own. I want them to just be kings and queens and navigate this life at a young age now. Like, you know, it took us this time. They could be great 18, 19, 20, you know what I mean? And that's our goals for our kids, is for them to be successful and not have the worries that we have. I want them to be just, I'm the last. With them, they're gonna take our family and our name to, you know, the greatest heights that they can go for the next generations, you know what I mean? And that's the goals for my kids, so yeah.
So starting a new cycle.
New cycle.
New cycle.
You know?
So basically what, you know, just to kind of sum it up, you broke the cycle. You went through some stuff as you know, growing up and coming up, and you fell into the cycle. Yeah. But you broke that cycle. You broke the cycle. You sought knowledge. You actually went to the classes and did the work, right? Knowing that you were going to be coming home to a wife and children.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the things too is, kids don't come with no manual.
No, they don't.
You need to maybe talk to people who got experience. You need to maybe talk to people who've done it the right way, because I didn't learn from somebody who did it the right way.
Right.
I learned from somebody who did it the wrong way.
Right.
So if I accidentally carry those things to the kids that I got now, or the kids that I'm going to have in the future, what disservice have I done them by doing the exact same things that I feel contributed to me making the bad choices that I made? So you break cycles, you make them feel safe and validated.
Yeah.
You also create good memories, you create bonds, you make family important and have value.
Yeah.
What about fun? How important is it to just allow your kids to be kids and have fun?
It's very important to allow them to be kids, because you know what I mean. You see a lot of I don't know, for some reason you just see a lot of older people like always on their kids, man. They want them to be robots. Just sit there and shut up, don't listen. Just give them a tablet, and that's all they do. Like, they're kids. They're gonna do things that's gonna irritate you. They're gonna do things that they think is right. They're gonna break something. You know what I mean? They're gonna do something. It's just in our kids' nature, because they just doing them. They don't understand. You know what I mean? So it is a big thing to allow kids to be happy, allow kids to have fun, allow kids to enjoy what they're doing with your guidance, knowing that they're doing it the safe way, you know what I mean, and that they're doing it the right way, and just let them be them, Be there to guide them, to make sure they're not going that way, or they don't do that, or they don't put a plug in the sock. That's what you're there for, to make sure they have fun the right way, and not just how just they go outside and throw rocks at cars, and go outside and break a window, ding dong ditch, and do all that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I feel like it means a lot for parents to allow their kids to have fun and enjoy the innocence that they got. They're to protect that.
And not threatening them with death because they break something.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, of course, I work on it. Of course, we might snap, but it's the way you snap.
Yeah,
it's the way you address it. It's the way you discipline it. And don't snap, grab something, throw it at them. Don't snap, grab them, slap them. Don't snap, grab them, and you know what I mean. Like, yell, you stupid, you can cuss at them and call them all kinds of punk bitches and you stupid motherfuckers and all that. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the right way to go about it. You know what I mean? There is positive and effective serious where they know, like, it depends on that look they give you, from that look they give you for actually fearing for their life. You know what I mean? Because they can give you that, but they know, because they messed up, and they know they're in trouble, and they know, that they're going to get their something took, but they're not going to have fun no more, to where they're damn near pissing on themselves because they feel like their life's over. They're about to come get smacked over the head. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there is a difference when they feel like, oh man, I just messed up. And like, there's a little bit of shame that's going to come to that, like, I think it's natural for, especially human beings, you feel shame when you mess up.
Yeah.
But there is that difference between like, this is gonna hurt later. When they see this, like, this is going to hurt me bad. And I think there's a difference. And I think, like, putting that level of fear into kids is like, it makes a space where they can have fun. And then, like you said earlier, they don't want to come back. Yeah. They don't want to come back to Grandpa's house for Christmas. Yeah, I don't care how big of a tree you got. I'm not coming back.
We're not doing
being around my kids.
And at a point, like, it matters now, because, like, when they're older and then you want to change and you're changed now, then I'm too grown. Like, I did that. I kind of have that with my father. Like, he did 20-something years, and we got home like a year after each other, my first term, and he just didn't come home right. And, trying to discipline me and talk to me crazy. Like, I'm grown, dude. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, where were you at? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't, it's not gonna, it might not go over well with some people, but it matters now and in the future. When you, like you say, you get older, like I said, you get older, and then you want to be a parent, and then you want to act like you want to discipline, give them knowledge, that it's just like, it's not gonna work. It's like, what? I'm grown, dude. I got kids, and it's too late for that. You know what I mean? Like, so it matters to be able to be present with your kids as best as possible, as much as possible. You know what I mean? Not everybody has a situation. Some people are going through the courts. Some people don't have that understanding with their significant others as far as their baby mamas and stuff like that. So my advice for those that are in that situation is to try to find a common ground for the kids. Definitely. When it gets to that, I feel like it's not about you guys no more. It's not about how you feel, what she done to you, what you done to her, or what, you know what I mean? That back and forth game that they play, I think they need to get that understanding, or they should get the understanding that it's about the kids. And if you guys can't communicate, they got channels, they got grounds, they got courts, they got other positive aspects that you guys can go to bring it around the kids and make it for the kids. And I feel like that's a big thing that I see with people that are in that situation, that they should understand that it's not about me and you, about us and what we've been through, what we're going through, and you're not doing this and I'm not doing that. It's about the kids.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the things I see. It's like, she's doing this and she's spending the money on this and she won't let me do this, and it's just like, is all of this stuff that you are like finger pointing and not changing anything about yourself, is that making you a better father?
Right.
Because you're never going to get that woman back. Right. Sorry. Like, I know that a lot of people, that's what they want. They want that old thing back, and they're never going to get it back. Yeah. Or there's hurt and there's pain and there's bitterness, and it's just like, you can't have that back. Now you have to deal with the fact that you have children in this, and you have to be focus on yourself.
Yeah, focus. That was one of the big things about what I tell people. I had to focus on myself. I had to focus on me. I think I shared this in a class where sometimes you got to be selfish, but selfish for the right reasons in the right ways. Therefore, when you know you're doing something, you got it together, then you could come back to the situation as a better person with a better understanding and outlook, and be able to provide and do the things that you can. Because if you're in it and you got too much on your plate, you're spreading yourself too thin, it might crash. It might not work. So sometimes you might have to back away from situations, be selfish, work on yourself, do what it takes to get you right. That way you can come back in the situation positive, better understanding, better influence, and actually do what you need to do.
Definitely. And I think one of the things too is like when we start to put ourselves first, because we put everything else before our own livelihood, right? We put everything else before our family, before our kids. We put the gang. Yeah. I know I did. We put the drugs, the money. Right. We put some random female on the street things ahead of what we got going on at home, or even myself, my own outcomes, right? Yeah. And then when we start to shift that, we still kind of have this guilty feeling of like, oh, we're being selfish, but we're not. We're just putting number one first. Yeah. We're putting number one as number one. Like, if I can't get up in the morning because I have used all of myself up, I haven't fed myself, I haven't done anything to help myself have any type of energy, then what good am I to anybody? Right. And nobody calls it selfish when the flight attendant on the plane says, when that mask drops, put your mask on first and then help other people. Right. Because like if you kill yourself, or you spread yourself so thin, or if you deplete yourself and you have nothing to give back to anybody, now you've not only screwed yourself, you screwed the kids. Right. So, definitely. So that's about it for right now. I want to thank my brother for coming, Joey. Yes. This has been Parolee Paradise. One of the main things we talked about today, one of the real reasons I wanted him to come, is because this is somebody who I have seen kind of firsthand, right? Not only like chase after the material. A lot of us, when we get out, we work harder than anybody else, chasing after stuff, money, positions, companies, jobs, money, all that other stuff, right? But this is somebody who I've said, like, nah, I'm creating memories with my kids. Like, we gardening together. We doing all this other stuff. Yeah. We're growing stuff in the backyard. Yeah. When my kids leave, they're going to want to come back and bring their family back. And we don't necessarily always hear that from people who have been in the situations that we've been in. And now we have. And I can't express how important that is. And I appreciate you for coming on.
No problem.
Like the video, share the video, comment, subscribe to the free hour. If my boy wants me to put his social medias and stuff, I'll have that in the description. If not, he might just want to live his life. But if you want to see him come back on for a part 2 or for any updates, let me know. All right? This has been the free hours. Your boy Tree, Trevor Turner,
Yes, sir.
Joey, Proly Paradise. Deuces.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Yes, sir.
You already know.
I appreciate that.
Anytime.
Man. Yes, sir.